My wife can't stand seeing me happy, but she doesn't know it's affecting our marriage. I'm 29, and my wife, Jess, is 28. We've been married for 3 years now. I met Jess back when I was 19 and she was in a difficult relationship. I was the quiet, studious type, mostly focused on my studies, and I didn't really socialize much in college. But then my friend introduced me to Jess, and I was immediately struck by how beautiful, smart, and funny she was. She had been in a relationship that was falling apart, though my friend didn't know all the details. From what she told him, her boyfriend wasn't treating her well, so I thought maybe, if I showed her how caring and loving I could be, she might be interested in me. We started chatting and became good friends, and I eventually found out she was single. But because I didn't want to rush things, especially since she'd just gotten out of a bad relationship, I decided to remain friends and just be there for her. As the years went by in college, we grew closer. I helped her study for exams, even though we had different majors. She was studying marketing, and I was studying accountancy. But we made it work, and our friendship continued to grow stronger. When graduation came, I felt a mix of emotions. I was happy to be done with school, but I was also sad because Jess was moving to another state. Still, we stayed in touch, and after I passed my CPA exam, I landed a job as my dad's accountant, managing his business. He was a well-known, respected businessman, and he wanted me to take over the family business one day. I was grateful for the job, but it wasn't exactly exciting. It was a lot of managing numbers and paperwork, though I did enjoy the fact that I worked from home most of the time. 2 years later, I got a call from Jess. She was excited and told me she'd finally landed a good job at a tech store after struggling for years. She wanted to celebrate, and I agreed to visit her. I booked a flight and headed to her state. When I arrived, she told me to skip the hotel and come straight to her apartment. She introduced me to her roommate, and we spent the next few days talking about old times and catching up. During one of our conversations, Jess admitted she had feelings for me, and to my surprise, I found out she had been feeling the same way all along. She asked me out, and we began dating. The time we spent together was wonderful, and after just a few months, we decided to make things official and get married. But that's when the problems began. Growing up, I didn't get to experience much fun. I spent most of my time studying and working hard to make my father proud, so I missed out on simple things like going bowling or fishing. As an adult, I wanted to make up for that. One day, while hanging out with my college friend John, I mentioned that I'd never been bowling. He suggested we go, and I was excited. But just as we were about to leave, Jess overheard and got upset. She told me I shouldn't go, and though I didn't want to upset her, I stayed home. I was disappointed, but I agreed to stay in. A few days later, John and I decided to go bowling anyway. We had a great time, but when we got back, Jess was furious. She told me I was being irresponsible as a married man and shouldn't be out doing useless things. I tried to calm her down, but she kicked John out of the apartment. He left, and she acted like nothing had happened, switching back to her sweet, loving self. Another time, I bought a PlayStation 4 to relax after work. I'd never had the chance to play games as a kid, and I thought it would be a good way to unwind. But when Jess saw me playing, she didn't take it well. She told me it wasn't good for my mental health, and that I should get rid of the console if I wanted to make her happy. I was frustrated, but I complied. The gaming was over, and I started to wonder why she got upset whenever I had fun. Then Jess got pregnant, and we had a baby boy. We moved to a bigger house near a lake, thinking that a fresh start would help our family. But Jess's behavior didn't change. She was working a lot, and I spent most of my time taking care of our son. One day, our neighbors, Hank and Sally, invited me to go fishing with them. I had always wanted to try fishing, but I never got the chance. Hank and his friends offered to teach me, and I was excited. But when I got home and told Jess, she seemed fine at first. When the day came and Hank and Sally showed up, I went fishing with them while Jess stayed at home. The day was perfect. I learned to fish, had fun, and even jumped in the water with the guys. It felt like the experience I missed out on as a child. However, As the day went on, Jess kept calling me repeatedly, asking when I would be back. Eventually, I saw her approaching with an angry look on her face. When she got to us, she exploded. She yelled at me for having too much fun instead of staying home with our son. I was sad and just wanted to go home. On the way back, one of Hank's friends asked me, "Why doesn't your wife want you to have a little fun once in a while?" I didn't have an answer. I felt stuck. At home, I tried talking to Jess about how her behavior was affecting me, but she didn't respond. She acted like she didn't understand what I was talking about. I was left feeling helpless and confused. 2 years have passed since then, and nothing has changed. Every time I try to have fun, whether it's playing video games, hanging out with friends, or going fishing, Jess gets upset and makes me stop. But when it's just the two of us, she's sweet and loving, and everything seems fine. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm stuck in a never-ending cycle of trying to experience life and having fun, only to be stopped by my wife's anger. I'm torn between wanting to be true to myself and not wanting to upset her. It's like I'm living in a constant state of guilt and confusion. I just want to find a balance where I can have a little fun without feeling like I'm being punished for it.